Hi. So by now we've covered all our eighth note rhythms. So let's get a little bit more advanced and look at our 16ths. So a 16th is a group of 4 notes over 1 beat. And the way to count that is 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander, 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4. So it's down, up within 1 beat. So we've gone, to simplify it, from quarter notes to eighth notes. And now we're going to go 16ths. So that'll be our first exercise. Just grab a G chord. Now the emphasis here, what I want you to concentrate, if you look on your worksheet, we're going to put a little accent mark over the first beat on the downbeat. So it'll be like 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander. So on the first downstroke of each beat, I want you to dig in a little bit harder. Because if you play it one dynamic, there's no sense of a pulse there. You can't feel anything. So 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. Join in. 2, 3, 4. Push the 1. Okay, so that's a straight 16. That gets boring. So how do we make that more exciting? Well, if you look at some of the examples on the worksheet, you'll see variations on a 16th. And the first one is 1 eander. So it's down, down, up, down, down, up. Now, the little tricks here to make it a little bit easier. Instead of going 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander, if we start using words, it just makes it easier for the brain. We can trick the brain a little bit. So the 1 eander can be a bad puppy. Bad puppy, bad puppy, bad puppy. I know it sounds crazy, but it actually works. Bad puppy, bad puppy, bad puppy, bad puppy. Bit easier and more fun than going 1 eander. And in particular, as we start combining rhythms, it makes a lot of sense. So if we look at the next example, it's 1 eander, 2 eander, which is down, up, down, down, up, down. Now, you can count 1 eander, or you can say feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. So certain words that we say and the way we intonate create a rhythm. And it just makes it very easy to translate these to guitar. So let's try that one. 3, 4, 1 eander, 2 eander, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, down, up, down. Okay, so say we were to combine these. If you look on the worksheet, and you saw a diagram and it said 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. Or 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. And if that was a bit hard, it'd be so much easier to go bad puppy, feeling good, bad puppy. So let's try that over a G chord. Bad puppy, feeling good, bad puppy, feeling good, bad puppy, feeling good. It's a bit hard to say sometimes, but if you can just say it in your brain, it'll make life so much easier. So now, let's get these 16ths and just vary them up a little bit. On your worksheet, there'll be 1 with a dot after the first note. There'll be 1, a 2. So we're not actually playing the E and. So it'll be down, up, down, up, down. Now you've just got to be careful not to turn it into a shuffle, and we'll talk about shuffles in a sec. So 1 eander, 2 eander becomes 4, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1. So the R is going to be our upstroke. If we can keep the hand, as I said before in the last example, last video, if we can keep it like a pendulum. So looking at it, it looks like I'm doing this. But in reality, I'm going. And there's my sense of time. So 3, 4, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And another variation of that is to go 1E, 2E. So we're not just playing the and up. So we're going 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, 1E and a 2E and a 3E. So, learning some of those variations, mixing them up with eighths and quarter notes, we get some really interesting rhythms. Now, there's a thing that is played a lot in rock music, and it's commonly referred to as like the Bo Diddley feel, or if you play in a Latin band, they call it a clave. It's getting a 16th. If you look on the worksheet, you'll see this. And it's playing every third 16th. Now, the odd thing about this is 16ths is a subdivision of even numbers. 1 eander, 2 eander. But if you played every third one, certain things will fall off the beat. Let me play you a Bo Diddley sort of rhythm. 3, 4. Now, if we took a simple 16th note rhythm, the pulse is 1, 2, 3. Now this is getting hard, so you've got to take your time and slow it right down. So on the examples you'll see where I've put the accent marking and I've muted the 16ths that aren't being played. A far easier way, and I've noted this on the worksheet, a far easier way is to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2 being the resolution. I'm playing an A bar chord here, so I can actually mute some of these strings. So 1, 2, 3. Right, so just be careful. The next hard part is where you tap your foot. Don't tap 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because you're actually out of time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hear that stuff, you know, ranging from funk music, some Motown stuff, even the stuff of Led Zeppelin where they're actually implying that sort of rhythm, and particularly Latin music, you know. And you can vary that up a little bit. On the worksheet, I've actually put the accents, instead of on the 1, on the 3. So and that was a funky Jimi Hendrix chord. So we'll try that with a more simple chord like an A bar chord. 3, 4. Okay, if you've come this far, you've come a really long way. So the other thing I just want to briefly look at is a 12/8 rhythm or a triplet groove. So on the worksheet, you'll see how we've transcribed this. And I'm just going to once again put the accent. So what a triplet is, of course, is a note that's divided by 3. So we've gone into even numbers, now to odd numbers. So here's the beat, 2, 3. And if I put a triplet, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a... First thing that comes to mind is Hello, Oh Darling by the Beatles. You know, a great sort of triplet feel. So let's get a G chord. You can play an open chord for this. And let's accent the 1, 2, 3, and just throw on the triplet. I tend to actually play this stuff mainly as downstrokes because it tends to be slower. So let's try this. 3 and a 4 and a... 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the last thing I want to look at is a Texas shuffle, a boogie, fill, call it whatever you want. It's essentially a fast 12/8. But we're not playing the middle triplets. So instead of going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, we're going 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1. And you know, bands like ZZ Top and all the bluesy stuff coming out of Texas, it does a lot of that, and those guys do it so well. Roadhouse Blues is probably the most classic thing, the old Doors song, where you can just sort of get that rhythm into your head. You get that. So what that is, there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... So if we leave out the ander, now that's a shuffle. It's great to learn these rhythms, particularly a lot of the triplet and shuffle fills, because by knowing how to use them properly, you can actually bring a little bit of a swing or a sort of lazy triplet feel against your 16th. So everything swings a little bit and still sounds rock. It just doesn't sound as stiff. It sounds more relaxed. And you know, some famous bands like the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, you know, even though it's still rock music, it's essentially got a bit of a swing happening, which makes it a little bit more exciting, a bit more of a groove, adds a bit of a black factor to the whole thing. So if you've come this far, you're a great rhythm player by now. So I want you to go through all these exercises and really get into them. And I want to thank you for watching this, and I'll catch up with you again on our next lesson. See you around.